Well, pregnant mothers won't be turned away from Middlemore Hospital if the county's Manukau DHB is forced to remediate or rebuild the quake-prone Galbraith Building. The hospital's maternity ward is the country's largest, and earlier this week RNZ reported that it might have to close or face major disruption because of the seismic risk. The DHB is reassuring the public that maternity services will be a priority, but other services might have to be cut back. Our reporter Sarah Robson has the story.
The Galbraith Building houses the maternity, birthing, gynaecology, radiology, day procedures and infusion services at Middlemore Hospital. Earlier this week, the DHB received an assessment of the building's seismic risk after years of debate over whether to strengthen or demolish it. Briefing documents say although the Galbraith site is unlikely to experience a major earthquake, the board must comply with legal requirements to either fix the building or replace it long term. The DHB's acting chief executive, Gloria Johnson, says the Galbraith Building and what to do with it is its biggest concern. She says the board's looking at whether it's feasible to fix it.
And is it feasible to do that whilst either keeping all of the services operating within it or decanting some of those services from time to time while we remediate various parts of it? So we've looked at working up various options there and looking at some high-level costings.
But Gloria Johnson says it also has to consider a complete rebuild.
If those options look unaffordable or unrealistic because of the disruption to the business, then what would it take for us to be able to quickly replace the building with a new build?
The county's Manukau DHB already knows there are few alternatives for patients if it has to close all or parts of Galbraith. In briefing documents, it says the city's other DHBs can't cope with the demand from county's Manukau DHB residents, and travelling out of the region is too difficult and expensive. But Gloria Johnson says pregnant mothers won't be turned away.
If we did have to take maternity services out of the building for some reason, or we needed to close off some area of maternity services, we would accommodate those services elsewhere on the Middlemore site. We would make that a priority because that's clearly a service that it is critical that we continue to deliver on this site.
But it could come at the expense of other services?
Yes, medical and surgical beds are the ones that we might have to look at being able to accommodate elsewhere. That's where it is possible that there might be some regional capacity to help us out.
Definitive decisions on the Galbraith Building will be made later this year. But the DHB will have to go to the government for extra funding, whatever it decides to do. Its new chair, Mark Goshi, is realistic about the share of the funding pie it might get.
You get the money and then you decide how much you can do over the time frame that you've got. You know, there's not a bottomless supply of money, but we'll make do with what we can get and maximise its effectiveness.
The Finance Minister Grant Robertson confirmed today that the government will invest $42 billion over 5 years to support its plan to rebuild infrastructure and critical public services like hospitals. Details about how that money will be divvied up will be revealed in next week's budget, but there will be a hefty boost for health and education. Mō te hōtaka o te ahi, ko Sarah Robson, aho.